everybody. I have another piece that I'm going to be breaking down for you. Today it's going to be a prayer for the people. I wrote this one all in a very short time, probably within a day. Probably finessed it a little bit. I don't remember all the specs. And it happened, I believe, in the week leading up to my very first quarantine performance way back at the end of March of 2020. I wrote this song because this was a very, very turbulent time just in general, not only for me and my family and my friends and my community I was in, but for the state of Minnesota and Nebraska and the world, right? Everybody was freaking out, and they were rightfully so in doing that. And we just didn't know what was going on, and I just really wanted to share something, or I was just inspired to write something that was in some ways an answer for me to give back to people for something that I thought that they needed. This one is a prayer. It's a spiritual one to some degrees, but it's also really how I would have gone about this type of prayer. So it really starts off with quite literally not knowing where to start or even how to start. And so if you're really listening, you might think it's always a mistake. I have no idea. But there's an intention behind this this ghost note. So I always start it with a breath attack where it's just pure air moving through my trombone because I don't even know how to start what I'm going to say and what I need to say, and just give me the words that I need to say to really help everybody get through this incredibly difficult time. And you'll hear, at least in this whole opening section, just kind of this really depressed, like overwhelmed and helpless feeling that we were all just kind of going through, because the virus was somehow already in America and everybody you knew was getting it. And no matter where you were going, everything was changing all in an instant. For me specifically, I'll never forget how on Friday the San Francisco Orchestra said that they were canceling the rest of their season by Monday or Tuesday of the following week, 4 days. The rest of the performing arts in America followed suit, and I was more or less out of work. And not just in my town, not just my business, it was everywhere. There was no work for me, and everything was gone in an instant. Just a crazy time. And that was my story. I mean, that's just one of my stories. You know, everybody went through something drastic during this time. And, you know, as I'm filming this, we're still in the midst of this pandemic. And, you know, a lot of us have been getting the vaccine, but the numbers are still going up and all that stuff. It's a crazy time. So, this one starts off with me not really knowing where to go and just really kind of feeling out these feelings, you know, the overwhelming depression and the helplessness. And I don't even know what to say. So this phrase just starts and it just kind of meanders, and then it just, you know, you think it's done, but then you're like, oh, and then also this thing here, you know, please help this out. So here's the very first phrase of A Prayer for the People. Kind of very verbose. like me, right? I love to overspeak everything, especially if I'm talking about stuff. So we move on to this second phrase here, this second sentence that you might be being offered during this prayer. Now that you've said it, now that you've started down this path, you're a little bit more clear with what it is that you're praying about, what you're trying to send good vibes for, however you go about your own spirituality. But we're all starting to take a couple of steps forward, and we're doing our part to just try and get through this. And as this phrase ends, it too is a long phrase. I have to take a breath during this one, but you can just kind of hear the dismay of just everything that I'm going through. Not just me, but everybody, right? This isn't a piece for me. It was a reflection of everything that I saw that was going on. So just more clarity, and we're trying to start taking steps forward to how to get through this, and then still just feeling, all those very depressing feelings. Phrase 2. I leave some artistic opportunities for some glissandos or some note bends, as well as some more breathy air attacks. I don't mark anything in there. I leave it up to whoever might ever play this piece again, and I even leave it open to me. So however I'm feeling in the moment, I can add some of the extra feelings in there or not. So this third phrase is much more determined than the first two sentences, right? It gets a little bit more bold. We're understanding what's going on, how it's happening, not like to any large degree. Again, this was March of 2020. We didn't know if it was airborne, how it was traveling, how many people had it. We couldn't even test people at the time because it took so long to even get the tests back for those that we were testing. So, I mean, just a really difficult time, but we're understanding the situation and the people's needs just a little bit more, because there's certain people that are being affected by this more than others, right? Some people are able to be like, oh, I don't have to go into the office. I can just, stay at home and log into my computer and do these Zoom calls that, nobody wants to be a part of, but it sure beats having to drive, do your daily commute and all that sort of stuff. So some people had it fine, and others really, really were struggling during this moment. And although we get more determination and all this understanding, I still hear plenty of fear and doubt and anxiety. And even towards the end of this phrase, I do a purposeful bend to the note where it just kind of or it falls. And to me, that's where I'm just thinking, like, just give up. What you're trying to do, how you're even trying to just combat this. Some of us probably had that feeling like there's nothing we can do. Why bother, right? So here's phrase 3. All right, so that's the opening section of this work here, and that brings us to we have a flip in emotions and even just direction of this piece. Again, I think at this point in March, late March, it was here. We knew what was happening. Quarantine had happened all around the country, not everywhere, but in many of the major metropolises. We had a better understanding of what was going on. We had a grasp of the needs that of the direct people that were affected by this. And we were all really helping in our own ways. For me specifically, I had decided that I was going to embark on an online adventure with my music and just try and help spread a message of perseverance. And we're going to get through this. And again, like I said, by the end of this week that I'd written this song, I premiered the song on the very first week of that quarantine concert series. So I wrote this and performed it that same week. And that was one way that I was trying to help out. Some of us were choosing to wear masks already, even though it was really socially awkward because it wasn't enforced in many places. And there was just tons of nervousness and the panic. It was just a really strong feeling there at the time. And there was just a sense of being overcome by everything, and that sense of being overcome was just growing and growing. So you can just kind of hear that in this next phrase, and it leads right into another section here where I hear more or less of because we're still praying. I'm like, this stuff's going on, but Lord, what about these people? They need help. And so there's a plea to the people that can't protect themselves, whether they were people who had a different language and only spoke that language, and we community members weren't communicating our message out to them clearly in ways that they would understand what was going on. We were assuming that they would figure this stuff out on their own, or whether they were people in retirement communities that there was literally nothing that they could do but just trust that other people that were helping them were staying safe. I mean, I have no knocks against the people that worked during that time, and I can't imagine what it's like, because not only do you have to take care of yourself, but then you have to worry about your spouse. And what if your spouse got it from having to do a job that they did or did not want to do? I mean, it's just what a crazy time. And so after this section, as we flip, there's just this plea for what about them? So we get to this next section here where we have these huge leaps from trombone. We have a really low trigger D flat up to that A flat. Not easy to do, but I like it. A lot of when I write for trombone alone, I'm really heavily influenced by Bach's cello suites. They are beautiful things by themselves, and so I try to imitate some of the stuff that Bach was doing, not to any serious degree, but just how he went about showing chords and that sort of stuff. But in this spot right here, everything's just kind of getting large. The numbers are getting large. The people that have gotten it, it's large. The people that are testing, everything's just expanding and exponentially growing. But we as people are resolved, and we're staying strong, and we're growing into our problems. And we're learning and we're sympathizing with others. And so there's just this nice moment of growing into this situation and getting bigger, overcoming this what is truly becoming a massive problem. And then right here, there's I don't know, in my writing, I just always love doing this. What, at least for me, maybe it's not like you, but for me, I'm really aware of, man, do I feel strong? And in a moment's notice, I can be like, whoa, what is going on? Sometimes as a musician, I can be like, yeah, I'm a great player. And then I'll talk to somebody and they'll just talk about, like, off the cuff, oh yeah, when I studied at Juilliard or when I played with this person on tour or whatever. And I'll be like, yeah, that's cool. I'm a nobody, just these quick shifts of emotion. And so I do that a lot in my writing. Because I think that's very human of us, how our emotions can just flip on a dime, even though it doesn't necessarily change the direction of everything. Our feelings can change on a moment's notice and can really make us really aware of a situation or where we are as a person. So right here, after this whole moment of we're growing into these problems, we're learning, we're sympathizing, boom, there's a sense of hopelessness in just the spread and the numbers and everything. And if only we can get through this, and if only we could do something, if only we had known, if only he did wear a mask, or if whatever, there's just so much hindsight, so much wonder, and we just didn't know. And right after that, it lasts two measures. It just kind of ends here, this section, into this acceptance and a plea for peace. Not just in mind, a piece of mind, but also in a piece of spirit and physicality. So, that's this next section right here. Right after that. All right. And so this last part right here, speaking of peace, I just really turned the focus onto actual peace. And that's what I want for you, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through. I want you to find that peace and in your own resolve. And so I do this big quote from the Meditations from Thais. And if you have not heard this work, it's beautiful. It's probably impossible that you haven't heard it. You probably just don't know it as well as some other pieces out there in the world. Amazing work. At the end of this YouTube session, you should definitely look that up while you're out here and watching this stuff anyway. So this beautiful feeling of peace and everything, just accepting where we are and making peace with what's going on. And so I do this section here, and that's actually where we end for the most part. So at the end of this, it builds up to this high note, and then I just kind of fall off of it, and it's like we're right back to where we started. Again, this is a prayer, and I didn't know where I was starting, and I was just talking and hoping that things would get somewhere, and then I find some purpose, and I find specific things that I want to pray about and help and bring light to, and I gain some perspectives and all that sort of stuff, and just knowing that I am doing my part and all that stuff. But now I don't even know how to end this prayer because this is just a massive undertaking with what's going on. And so it just kind of trickles off until, I get to this point where I'm just like, okay, I'm done with what I have to say. And, it's only when we slow our minds and our mouths that the best of us shines. So I hope that this piece can help you find this musical piece can help you find a little bit more peace and resolve, and maybe help you think about talking less and doing more. So here is the end part of A Prayer for the People. So hear the whole thing either on April 10th for the concert that I'm hosting, or go on to my website. You can find this song on the 2020 album of compositions. I hope this work means a lot to you as much as it meant to me. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye.